Hi everybody, welcome back to Throwing Bows. I'm Jose. This is my breakout segment where I talk about up and coming fighters. So we did have a fighter fight. The number 15th ranked flyweight fought at UFC 257. No, you probably didn't miss him. He didn't fight at the 8 p.m. ESPN Plus prelims, and he wasn't one of the first fights on the main card. The number 15th ranked flyweight in the UFC fought on the early prelims at 7 p.m. I'm going to tell you how he did and why, at least in my opinion, the UFC placed their 15th ranked fighter on the early prelims. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Jose. Let's take care of some business before we get into it. Please like and subscribe down below. Hit the buttons, smash those buttons, Hulk smash those buttons, as my partner John would say. And down below, leave any comments. So let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you like what we're saying, don't like what we're saying. We take all feedback, and we promise we won't go in a corner and cry. We'll take it like adults. But if you want to maybe put your comments to us in 140 characters or less, our Twitter handle is @BowsThrowing. Again, that's @BowsThrowing, and that's us on Twitter. We do try to stay up on that and try to get back to you guys with any comments you may have and any responses we may have to that. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. The UFC 257 happened. It was McGregor and Poirier. Great fight. There was the co-main event with Chandler and Hooker. All right, and so these two things, they definitely are the ones that deserved the gravy on top of the potatoes. But there was the 15th ranked flyweight in the UFC fighting, and we possibly just missed him. If you did not tune in to UFC Fight Pass at 7 p.m., his fight happened, was the very first one. So how did he do? So let's start. He wins a unanimous decision. And I think he did win the unanimous decision. If you look at it, he controlled the cage. It was good octagon control. He pretty much in all the rounds would come out and own the center. And so he was the aggressor. He was putting it on Zhumagulov. And it's just Zhumagulov was just kind of on his back heels. Zhumagulov would try to get some combinations on, and he landed. I mean, Zhumagulov was 59 of 132. 45% of his significant strikes landed, as opposed to 68 of 169, and only 40% of Albazi's significant strikes landed. But here's the deal. 59% of Albazi's significant strikes were head strikes. And so at the end of the match, you could see Zhumagulov was in a fight. It looked like Albazi had probably gotten hit by a tree branch or something like that. He didn't look any worse for the wear. And so Zhumagulov wore the fight on his face. The significant strikes that landed on his head definitely, in my opinion, weighed heavier. I believe that the refs were looking for the damage to the head being a big factor in giving the nod to Albazi. And then also Albazi had 2 takedowns. Now, not much came of that. Zhumagulov was good on the floor, had good defense. Was getting up, got it back to the feet, and unfortunately, that's where he was a little bit outclassed by Albazi, but not by a lot. Albazi it was good cage generalship. It was just he knew he had good angles. He was definitely faster than Zhumagulov, and so this is one of those ones where Zhumagulov he can take this back, and it can be a good learning experience. But even at that, Zhumagulov didn't come in as a slouch. He actually has a win over a guy that was fighting on the card in a big fight in Nam, or actually had fought previously. But a guy that they had looked at in Tyson Nam, he actually beat Tyson Nam at FNG. So Zhumagulov coming into this is no slouch. He's beaten some of the guys. Whereas Albazi is coming into this fight 15th ranked. You scratch your head for that. He's only beaten Malcolm Gordon so far. That was his debut fight, and yeah, he got a triangle choke on Gordon. But it wasn't so spectacular or anything that you would say this guy is obviously, of all the new guys and newcomers that are coming to flyweights, let's put this guy up the 15th rank. So with that being said, where is the push coming from? And it's possible that in 2017, 2018, he actually had 2 fights in Bellator. And he's coming from Brave FC, which has also got a good name on itself. There's some good competition in Brave FC for up-and-comers as well. So I think Albazi had a little bit of a pedigree coming in, and Dana White and the UFC basically looked at Albazi and said, we don't have a problem hanging 15 on this guy, even though he's only fought 1 fight. Listen, there are some guys who had to fight 5 fights in a year to get into the top 15. I'm looking at you, Kevin Holland. Good for you. You're my boy. But I think that it makes statements about maybe where the UFC feels like the flyweights are, in the fact that one guy comes in and yes, he fought in Bellator and he has some Brave FC experience, but you just in 1 fight you move him up to number 15. I can respect his time at Bellator, but that doesn't mean that he's ready to get slapped on the label of number 15. And then then the question comes up, but then if you feel as if he's strong enough to carry the 15, why would you put him on the early prelims? You don't bury the lead. You don't bury the 15th ranked guy. You don't bury the 10th ranked guy. Like, you don't put Tony Ferguson, even though he's lost you don't put him in at the early prelims. There's just certain guys you just don't do that to. Now, I'm not saying Albazi has got that pedigree of Ferguson yet, but obviously the UFC sees something. You labeled him the 15th ranked guy in the flyweights. Like, that guy at least deserves to be on the 8 p.m. prelims on ESPN being highlighted. So it's a little bit of a question. I didn't see any scratches. I didn't see anything involving Albazi where he had a fight and then it got scratched in, so then they moved it around. It just looked like this is where they booked Albazi at as the early prelims. Why the UFC thinks it's good business to bury your 15th ranked guy, unless you don't think he's the 15th ranked guy in your division, in your flyweight division, remains to be seen. I think that who he fights next will be a telltale sign of where the UFC sees this young man's career going. But he's definitely got some skills. Now, he's not ready for Figueiredo. He's not ready for Moreno. He's not ready. Honestly, he's not even ready for Alex Perez. He actually lost to Jose Torres, who lost to Alex Perez. And so, he's definitely has some time before we can start considering him to be a top 4, top 5 guy. And I wonder how getting him in after his first fight as the number 15 flyweight, how that's going to work. When you get a number on you, obviously all the other guys below you, they're trying to get ranked too. And so you go from having Albazi where he should be able to have a little bit of a feel out process. You go to basically putting him straight into the fire. And basically having a target on his back from everyone that's below him. So you say, who's below him that you could possibly want to see in a fight with him? Well, if you believe that he needs some more tread on his tires, there was a guy that fought this past week and a half, Sumaderji, and he's an up-and-comer. He's obviously looking for fights. He's hungry like Albazi is. If you're the UFC, and I think that you put him against someone like Sumaderji, then you're basically saying, we don't believe you. We may have given the 15th rank to you a little prematurely. If you start seeing that they're ready to put him in against Nam, who just is coming off a loss, or even a Jordan Espinosa, who's the number 14th ranked guy, I think you're going to start seeing how the UFC views Albazi, and if they view giving him the 15th rank was too early, or if they're going to double down on it. It should be interesting to see what Dana does in this instance as far as how they move him forward. So those are 3 fights that you could possibly see. And I find it very interesting. If they think that he needs a little bit more work, it'll be Sumaderji. If they think that, hey, it's time, let's help him make a little bit of a run, you're going to see him fight Nam, who's coming off of a loss, or even Jordan Espinosa, who's the guy right just above him. And only time will tell. I do think that Albazi, with some more time in the UFC, will develop a little bit. Will develop a little better. He's going to need some time. Figueiredo is definitely faster than him. Figueiredo is definitely stronger, I think, than Albazi. And Moreno is definitely. I think Moreno's got a little crisper boxing than Albazi, just to name the top two guys. So Albazi is 15th ranked, and for me, I think that if you label someone 15th ranked, you're saying you give them a year and a half, and you should be expecting them to be a title contender within that time. I don't think Albazi's there. I think Albazi may need 2.5 years. I think that if you give him Espinosa or Nam, you may see some discrepancies. As we said previously, there's levels. I do think that Albazi can level up. I think that there's going to be a big step between 1 and 2, and he needs to make that step probably with someone like Sumadaji first and not Tyson Nam. But that's my opinion. The 15th ranked flyweight fought on the early prelims at 7 p.m. Let me know if you think that this is just the way, like if this was just a mistake and the UFC is trying to bury a mistake that they made in giving Albazi the 15th rank this early, or if it was just an oversight. I'd be interested to see if you guys think that if there's a couple of guys that are ranked that you're like they should be fighting on the early prelims. Let me know. Leave your comments below. Please hit like and subscribe. Find us on Twitter at Bo's Throwing. Again, at Bo's Throwing. That's us on Twitter. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.